capacitors and resistors and more. And we're talking about meddling, and we don't even know what's going on with those machines, and we're not regulating them. And we're supposed to pretend we're concerned about meddling. This is something for the Trump administration to get involved in, and I believe right now. Joining us tonight, former Reagan White House political director, Fox Business political analyst, Ed Rollins. Ed, good to have you here. Let's talk commies meddling in our election, because that's what both countries have the capacity, apparently, to do.
Well, the tragedy is that we have a process in which so much of it is run by volunteers or secretaries of state who basically are overwhelmed. So these machines can easily be tinkered with, and we wouldn't have a clue what was going on. We do know that the Russians, we do know the Ukrainians, we do know a whole bunch of other people want to play in our election. And when you're talking about a 70,000 vote margin, which was the last margin, and probably a similar competitive race this coming time, maybe the margins are bigger because of Trump's performance, doesn't take much to shift the elections.
Well, it doesn't take much to shift it. It also doesn't take much to understand that all of the problems we've had with voting machines in this country, whether it's rampant corruption in Chicago, whether it is Philadelphia, you name the big city, something usually is going on that's untoward. Why wouldn't both parties be making certain of the electoral integrity of the system, or is it because they want to keep whatever reserve they have in place?
Well, when you really get into this, it's a corrupt system. A lot of people make a lot of money off of buying those machines. I would argue very strenuously we need to go back. Well, we can't prove the machines are valid. Go back to paper ballots. So it takes us 24 hours to get an election result someplace. At the end of the day, it's going to be a close election. You have to prepare for a close election. I think this president hopefully is going to win big, and it won't even be an issue. But if it is an issue, you're talking about 70, 100,000 votes. You can steal that pretty easy.
Well, steal it. How do we stop it?
We've got to stop it. We've got to, as you said, the president has got to make this a very high priority, and he's got to make sure the Federal Election Commission and everybody else that has any involvement in this get in there full bore.
And Judicial Watch is doing a lot of great work.
They're fabulous. They've uncovered some stuff in California.
Millions of registrations that are questionable. We're going to be taking that up with Tom Fitton and his organization.
They've done a superb job. They really have.
Well, the RNC, the DNC, if there is any room for bipartisanship in this country, you would think it would be to assure that there is no fraud, no quote-unquote meddling, whether by Russians, Ukrainians, or Chinese, or anyone else in this country. We've got to protect the electoral integrity.
Good old paper ballot, to me, is the safest thing we can do.
Absolutely. And at least have a little paper trail on those electronic votes.
You just got to watch the counters, that's all.
Let's turn to Matt Gaetz, a Republican who the president has spoken out in support of. Gaetz himself has been supportive of the president. And then today, to go along in a symbolic BS resolution vote against the president?
It's mind-boggling to me, and certainly is going to damage his credibility among conservative allies and people that have supported him, including us. At the end of the day here, this is a symbolic vote, and every Republican needed to be on board. Pelosi's running around today saying, I have bipartisan support on this issue. She's got 3 Republicans. We had 8 Democrats. That's not bipartisan. This was a stupid vote. Should never have occurred at any given time. This brave and courageous group called the Congress has not voted a war presentation since the World War II. And why would they go in at this point in time when the president basically is standing up and giving the best speech of his life yesterday and standing up tough against a very serious race? We all need to be behind him. We need to move forward, and every Republican needs to be behind him.
Pelosi, we talk about Obama's all but dead legacy under this president. Pelosi has no legacy at all now. She has absolutely, there was a certain myth that surrounded her, an aura of savant when it came to managing the House of Representatives. She just looks like a hate-filled, neurotic, I don't know what you would call her. Well, I really don't.
The truth of the matter is her legacy came by getting elected to a second term after 8 years in the minority, which had only happened one other time. Well, she's diminished it every single day, and her pet Poodle, the chairman of the Intelligence Committee,
Adam Schiff.
has done a great injustice. And my sense is, if she doesn't think this thing is important enough to send this thing over tomorrow, the majority leader needs to be praised for this. He's doing the right thing. He's doing what's good for the best interest of the country.
Mitch McConnell, I want to say, the Republicans are sticking together for this president despite the Democrats.